My first stop was the grocery store at the bottom of the Hyundai Baekgwajang at Apgujeong Station. I came here because they have an amazing selection of foreign foods. A lot of grocery stores in Korea don't really have that much. These, obviously you can see all the snacks, but I actually came here for the cheese specifically, and they did not disappoint. So I picked up a nice Havarti. Let the record show that there is a Cinnabon in that mall, and I abstained. I feel like I deserve points for that. The next stop on my ingredient gathering tour is Queen's Bakery. This is a chain bakery, although it's a very small chain. As far as I know, it's only in Seoul. This one happens to be in my neighborhood, which, for better or worse, is very convenient, which means they know me and I'm in here way too often. So I came here to get this loaf of wheat bread. I don't know why it looks so caked up. Next stop is the Oksu Panchan Kage, which is a super cute little panchan shop in my neighborhood. They have a rotating selection that changes every week, and they actually deliver, which is really cool. Now, the owner was shy and didn't want to be on camera, but she did want to share the history of her shop, as well as the history of kimchi and how the way it's made really depends on where your family is from on the peninsula.
가게 자기소개는 일단은 우리 가게는 나이가 오래됐어요. 옥수동에서 지금 10년이 넘었는데 2009년도에 시작했어요. 반찬 만드는 방법은 엄마한테 배웠죠. 엄마, 할머니, 그 어른들한테 배웠죠. 어릴 때부터 먹고 자란 거 배워서 우리도 또 이제 어른이 돼서 우리도 먹어야 되고 아이도 키워야 되고 남편도 줘야 되고 하니까 옛날에 먹었던 거 생각하고 엄마한테 배운 거 생각하고 해서 하게 됐어요.
네.
집집마다 조금씩 달라요.
어떻게 달아요?
그러니까 우리나라는 이제 이렇게 추운 지방도 있고 남쪽에는 또 따뜻한 지방도 있고 하기 때문에 그 담그는 방식이 추운 지방은 이제 보관이 쉬우니까 이제 소금 같은 거를 염분 같은 거를 줄이고 밑에 지방으로 내려갈수록 날이 덥고 이제 옛날에는 냉장고 같은 것도 없었잖아요. 그러니까 이제 짜게 염분이 많아야 그러니까 김치가 빨리 익지 않고 빨리 쉬지 않고 그런 이유가 아마 제일 클 거예요. 그래서 저희는 뭐 특별하다기보다는 뭐 너무 특별한 건 없어요. 근데 저희는 일단은 저희 가족은 설탕을 많이 사용하지 않고 거의 줄이고 이제 과일을 사용해서 담그는 편이에요. 그리고 이제 찹쌀가루 같은 거 이용하고 젓갈 같은 거는 새우젓 조금, 그 다음에 생선 젓갈. 그러니까 위에는 새우젓이면 남쪽에는 이렇게 생선을 이용한 젓갈을 많이 사용한다 그랬잖아요. 그러니까 그거를 이렇게 섞어서 사용하고 달콤한 맛을 내기 위해서는 배나 사과, 그 다음에 양파를 많이 사용해요. 저희 반찬 가게 많이 와주셔서 고마워요.
감사합니다.
네.
After scoring that dope kimchi, I headed over to my friend Hope's house. She invited me to use their kitchen in this amazing hanok home. This is a traditional Korean hanok that was remodeled by her parents. And they had such cute art everywhere, and even the wallpaper was amazing. To complete the aesthetic, I got fitted with this beautiful handmade hanbok apron, which was tied to me before we went ahead and got down into the nitty-gritty. Here you see me slicing the celery sticks lengthwise, and then I'm gonna gather them and just give them a basic chop.
Nobody makes fun of my chopping skills. I am not a professional. Thank you for the encouragement.
And then I did the same with the carrots. Again, just slicing them lengthwise and then kind of dicing them into smaller pieces. We're using an immersion blender later on, so it doesn't really matter if they're too big or too small. Next, I set my Instant Pot to saute, and I added a couple tablespoons of olive oil and a couple tablespoons of butter, and then I measured the garlic with my heart because that's the only accurate measurement for garlic in my opinion. I added the onion and celery. I also added the carrots at this point, but I guess I just didn't take a video. This is me unwrapping all of the bouillon cubes that I'm using. If you can't find chicken stock, bouillon cubes and a little bit of water is the way to go. So you smush them up and dissolve them, and then you hand it over to your kitchen minion, who fills it up the rest of the way with hot water. And while Hope did that, I was busy getting hyped up over this doenjang from Muriangsu Farms. This was the kit they sent me this, guys. Oh my god.
This looks amazing.
It's a flavor party in my mouth! Guys, when I tell you that this doenjang was so smooth, I started out with about 1/3 of a cup because I wasn't sure how strong it was going to be compared to like a store-bought, and it's going to change depending if you're using store-bought versus artisan or even like homemade doenjang, so just be conservative at first. You can always add more later. Once I stir-fried it and kind of felt like it was coating the vegetables well, I went ahead and added my chicken stock. That just helps it kind of blend easier, but I don't think it makes a difference. It's just my preference. I needed 6 cups total though, so I made Kitchen Minion give me 2 more cups of hot water, and we added that before giving it another stir and a taste. And we liked it, but it was still very chicken forward, and I wanted it to be doenjang forward. So I added another 1/4 cup or so of doenjang and mixed it in there. Now this is me measuring my lentils. I didn't really have measuring cups, so I had to eyeball it, but I think it's like probably 3 cups or so. And you always want to give your lentils or your split peas a really thorough wash to get any dust or debris or stone out. Then add them to your pot and give it a nice stir. Now this is the point where I feel like so many of you who've been internally screaming have been waiting for. I realized that the kitchen cabinet was opened and we closed it. Good job us. Give it another taste. It's great. We give it 3 thumbs up, very enthusiastic, and then we put the lid on the Instant Pot. Now I'm setting my pressure to high and I'm setting my time to 15 minutes, and it's on to the bread. Now we are slicing this baby thick. If you don't want to, if you're worried about carbs, like you can go thinner, but come on guys, it's a grilled cheese sandwich. Onto the plastic gloves. If you know, you know. Gonna break into the kimchi, taste it for the culture. And because I'm working with kimchi and a sandwich, I don't want it to be soggy, so I'm actually gonna squeeze some of that yangnyeom out and then just give it a rough chop. Next up is the pear, 1 for me, 1 for you, obviously, and then thin, almost like paper thin slices, guys, as thin as you can get it, because that way when you bite into the sandwich, it doesn't go everywhere. Make sure your pan is hot before you start adding your duck, and as you add your duck, you want to cook it over that medium-high heat until the fat renders. So you actually don't need to add any oil. You can literally just throw it in the pan and go for it. Every time, kind of like in between batches, I take the pan and I put all of the oil off to the side because we are going to use that sweet, sweet golden liquid to fry these grilled cheese sandwiches, because what is life without excess? Now this is my trick to keep the filling of my sandwich in place. I take 1 slice of cheese, put it down, and then I add my kimchi filling. On top of the kimchi, I'm gonna take a 2nd slice of cheese. Okay, there's a lot of cheese, it's grilled cheese, it's in the name of the sandwich, don't come for me. Put the 2nd slice of cheese over the kimchi. Next, you take your pear, again, very, very thinly sliced, that's super important. And you'll take your topper piece of bread that has a melted slice of cheese with duck, and you'll close your sandwich. Now, if you have a chef's press, what's it like being rich? Just kidding, you can also just use a heavy plate like I did. Once the Instant Pot's timer has gone off, you'll let it naturally release for about 10 minutes, and then put a towel over the spout and let it manually release for the remainder of the pressure inside. Once you pop the lid, this is what you look like. It doesn't look like soup yet, but you'll throw in your immersion blender. Very key point, make sure it goes all the way to the bottom of the pot, or you're gonna end up with a mess in your kitchen. Using kind of stirring and also up and down motions, just bring it all the way through the pot until the consistency gets to where you want it. As you can see, the consistency changes pretty quick. I thought it was too thick, so I added a little bit more hot water and gave it a stir until it reached the consistency I wanted. And finally, here I am boarding the struggle bus to Plate Town. I don't know what I'm doing, really, honestly. My best. I'm doing my best. I'm a firm believer that, at least when it comes to home cooking, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it matters how it tastes. So, that being said, let's eat.
Oh, it's so crispy. So good.
Nice.
That's so good. That's really good too. That's so like warm. It's so full.
We did way more than we needed to. Yay! Cheers on sandwiches!